Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic turned full-time energy healer and teacher.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch running my family's crystal shop.
And we're here to explore all things woo through the lens of both science and spirituality so that you can find the moments of magic in your everyday life and create an intentional spiritual practice.
So if that's what you're into, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic.
Howdy do today.
Howdy, mother truckin' duty.
Howdy, mother truckin' duty. You have a new background today. What's going on?
It's my first time recording from my new house.
Woo!
In the midst of my first tropical storm in my new house.
Woo! So exciting.
Sending the driest of energy to all of the southern listeners. I know it has been a little bit of a doozy.
A doozy. I could use some dry energy up here. It's still humid as heck.
Yeah.
Up in Maine.
Are we sweating?
We're sweating. We are so sweating. I'm sweating in parts of me I didn't realize sweat. My office was so hot the other day. As we've talked about on the pod before, I don't have AC in my office. It's a very old house. Whatever. My fingers were pruning by the end of an hour of work.
I hate it here.
I hate it. Yeah. So anyways, we are capping off our chakra series.
Womp womp.
With the crown. Yay.
It's our crowning achievement.
Oh, yep. Tiara, you excited?
I have no words for that one.
We are
Oh my god, Molly's made herself laugh so hard. I'm watching her struggle to compose herself.
We are
No. Oh god, I fear her big one is coming.
We are gonna alienate diadem listening.
My mom called. I have to go. There's been a family emergency. I have to leave right this instant.
Don't take me to court over these puns.
It's so bad.
That'd be a royal pain.
And no one knows why the Demystify Magic podcast was never heard from again.
It was thrown out.
You're canceled.
I've been waiting. I've just been waiting.
Oh god.
Nothing's gonna top that.
I'll see myself out. This has become a one-woman show.
Oh.
No.
Anyways, before I get ahead of myself, what was your magic moment of the week?
You've really set me up because my magic moment this week is very sappy. And you were my magic moment this week.
Me?
But now I'm taking it all away because you did too many puns. No. There's just no other word for it other than like I've had a no good, very bad week. Like just having a shit time. Like no way to sugarcoat it. Moving really sucks. Work has been hard. My root, she's so wonky. And I think my biggest fear with starting the podcast with you and I was that our friendship would change. And we didn't record last week because it was a no good, very bad week. And we just, a pipe burst in the house. Everything's fine. There were no casualties except for a few books. Like everything's okay. But it was just like a no good, very bad mental brain space. And it was just such a welcome reminder that like we really are friends first above anything else. And I'm really grateful for that. And you were just so there for me all the time. And our friendship is my magic moment. I just love you and thank you for being you.
I love you.
I love you.
Is now a good time for me to be mad at you because I'm going to be in Florida when you're not?
I know. I'm really pissed off about it.
So rude.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to go to Animal Kingdom, get myself a churro. I'm going to have to come back down.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's so nice, though. I love you.
I love you. What was your magic moment this week?
My magic moment feels like it doesn't even feel real, because Reiki training registration opened on Friday to the wait list. And we opened about twice as many spaces as last time because we made some changes to the program so that we could have more people in without sending my sanity and my root into a tailspin.
Without descending a tropical storm upon your chakra system?
Yeah. I'm just so excited to meet 157 new friends in the community and get to watch this thing grow and grow and grow. And yeah, it's just cool because the people who are in it are really excited to be in it. And that's the energy that I want in the community. That's the energy I want in the training. I think that it makes the training work so much better when you come in and you're just like, I'm fucking ready. I'm ready to commit to this. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm just so grateful.
I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks, friend. All right, now on to our crowning achievement.
The Crown. Not the popular Netflix television show.
I do like that show, though.
Never seen it.
Oh.
Whoa.
I
didn't expect such disappointment in your voice. Sorry.
We'll talk about that after.
For another podcast.
That coming to a court of Molly and Madison soon. Why Madison won't watch The Crown.
Also, I get a message probably once a week asking if I've seen Aladdin yet. The answer is no. I'm sorry. I haven't seen most things. I understand it.
When we do our lock-in at the store with Anthony, we will watch Aladdin.
We should just have a big old watching party.
We should.
We should just all hop on Zoom together and watch Aladdin.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay. Well, our people will talk to y'all's people.
Get some chicken salad chick. Get a peppermint mocha. Get a churro. Let's do it. Anyways, the Crown Chakra. The crown is so interesting because we're going to say it again for the 17th millionth time. If you were just starting this series here, stop. Go back. Start at the root. Because truly, when it comes to the crown, the magical thing about this chakra is if you just start with the crown, you're going to fight and fight and fight your way through. But if you start from the root and you really establish a solid foundation and you work your way up through all of the levels, the crown just opens. It just like, it's oftentimes it's represented by a lotus flower with 1,000 petals. And that's really how I see it is it's just kind of like if you have deep, 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 deep roots and you send that nourishment up from the root, up through the lower chakras, all the way up to the third eye, all the way up to the crown. It's like that lotus flower just blooms and it just blooms really beautifully. And the crown chakra is so connected to our spirituality, our consciousness, our sense of interconnectedness, right? Like this idea that you and I are not separate. You and the headphones you're listening to are not separate. You and, who you were yesterday, who you were going to be, 10 years from now are not separate. We're all interconnected. And it's interesting because the third eye and the crown have the same seed sound, and that seed sound is Om. And we talked about how Om is that vibration of universal consciousness, right? We're one light in multiple bodies. And it's really this beautiful idea that like we are not, just cogs in a machine. We are a machine in a way. I'm such a science geek that I always think about like particle theory, and I think about how what we perceive to be solid is in fact just densely populated particles that are all vibrating at different frequencies. And so those particles interact with the particles of the air around you, and then those interact with the particles of the things in front of you and the people and whatever. And it's kind of like that's how we're all interconnected. Right? We're all breathing the same air. We're all made up of the same particles. We're all interacting with each other, right? Like the butterfly effect is a beautiful example of this, where a butterfly can flap its wings and across the world, the weather pattern can change. And I just think the crown chakra is this reminder of that interconnectedness. And when we are reminded that we're all connected, that helps us bring about this sense of compassion, of empathy, right? Because if your pain is my pain and my pain is your pain, then I'm probably going to be less likely to inflict pain on either of us, right? And so compassion becomes kind of the default setting of the crown. And that is what creates this like sense of spiritual growth, the sense of presence, right? And it's connected to, like we said, with the third eye. It's sort of like there's some controversy about whether the third eye is the pineal gland or the pituitary gland. But I always see the crown as the pituitary gland because that is the like the master gland. It supports the functions of pretty much all of our vital functions. It supports all the rest of our hormones, our metabolism, our growth, our reproduction, our blood pressure. It regulates the endocrine system in general. So it affects all of the glands below it, right? All the ones that we've talked about before. So that's why, again, like it's a back and forth. The root supports the crown, but the crown also supports the root. They're all connected. It's so deeply connected with the nervous system, which we have talked about ad nauseum. But it also, like, if we think about when we have a nervous system that is really regulated, we can tap into our intuition. We can tap into our wisdom. We can tap into our compassion. We can have logical reasoning. We can have more defined thought processes rather than just like reacting to things out of habit. And I think all of that comes from this reminder that we are connected, that you are not alone, right? Like the universe has your back. You are the universe is you. And I think when we aren't as grounded in those lower chakras, it's hard to reach that place, right? If you do not have a solid foundation of like a roof over your head and food to eat, it's really fucking difficult to see yourself as one with the universe. Mm-hmm. Right? To believe that the universe has your back. Of course that's difficult, right? Like, just like it would be fucking asinine if I said to you like, oh, just remember we're all connected and like the universe will support you when you're struggling, mm-hmm. right? Like that struggle, overcoming that struggle has to come first.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, not only is it difficult, it's also maybe like a little bit unnecessary to focus on the interconnectedness. Like, not to say, I don't know the best way to say it. Your focus should be on the foundation.
Yeah.
Like those are in like the hierarchy of importance,
mm-hmm.
the roof over your head, which now has become this metaphor that we'll use throughout the series for the root chakra. I think about it. It's hard not to make metaphors out of the fact that the pipe burst in my house last week. You know, I imagine specifically like Molly standing there being like, well, you know, just remember you're a part of a greater spiritual interconnected being. Like we're all in this together, as I'm like literally with a broom pushing water out of my home.
Like imagine if I was like, I know you don't have running water right now, but like we're all connected. And
so it's going to be
the universe
fine.
has your back. Like that's fucked.
Yeah. And so like your pain is my pain, and also my water in my house that you can't access is your water in your house, you know? Like it's all the same.
Yeah. And it's like, I think it's so interesting in the spiritual community because there's this like myth or belief, I guess, that if we reach enlightenment, things like pipe bursting in your house don't happen or you're not affected by it. And that's not the case.
Yeah, I can confirm.
I think it's so easy, like when people bypass the lower chakras, to just kind of jump to the crown and spiritually bypass themselves, mm-hmm. right? Like pull the wool over their third eye. And just, we had a bunch of questions about spiritual bypassing that came in. It's basically like when you try and love and light your way through life, mm-hmm. you know, like if you're like, I know that you can't afford rent right now, but if you just believe that you have $1 million, it will show up in your bank account.
Uh-huh. Or the reason you can't pay rent right now is because you don't have an abundant mindset.
Yeah. Or your thoughts are making you sick. So just think different thoughts. Like, hello, if my thoughts were the thing that made things happen in my reality, I would have $1 million. Mm-hmm. Like we all would probably. And so like that's why we're so harping on like starting with that root, because if you don't have that foundation, it's really easy to bypass yourself and to start blaming yourself and saying the pipe burst in my house because I thought a negative thought, mm-hmm. or the pipe burst in my house because I didn't have an abundance mindset or whatever. When in reality, like shit happens. And being a spiritual being isn't, you know, never feeling that shit, never being affected by that shit. being a spiritual being and being deeply connected with the entire chakra system, including the crown, is going, okay, a pipe burst in my house. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to ignore how I feel and try to push through it and record a podcast, even though I feel completely frazzled, to deprioritize my own needs for everyone else? Or am I going to pretend like it's not a big deal and I can just meditate my way through it? Or am I going to say, it was no good, very bad week and I just need rest? And God damn it, I'm going to listen to that need and I'm going to take a step back.
Beautifully said.
Sorry for using you as an example,
okay.
but
you know. What? If we can get some good content out of it, it was all worth it. That's really all I'm here for, is just to provide you some excellent metaphors with my life experience. And I will say that that moment was a real realization for me of like the work that I've done paying off. Because I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a little bit of a nervous Nelly. I am often, at a level of vibration that is...
You're living life on a simmer?
Just a little bit. And standing in my bedroom and having wet feet and handling that and not knowing where my water shutoff was. If I could impart one piece of knowledge on all of you and everybody who has had this happen before is like, yeah, dummy. Like, of course, you move into a house, you figure out where your water shutoff is. The day you get the keys. Because the worst part? This is the second time this has happened to me.
What?
Once a pipe, like it didn't burst. Something, I don't remember exactly what happened, but something went wrong under my sink in my old apartment. And it literally rained under my sink like 2 years ago. And I didn't know where the water shutoff was. And I still didn't do this. But anyways, if I could put one piece of knowledge on all of you, if you move into a new place, find the water shutoff. But yeah, it was that moment where I was like, oh shit. Even amongst this like wonky route that I've got going on, I have a level of stability that I don't think that I even would have had a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that even like those really, it really is when your route becomes wonky that you can recognize how far you've come in terms of spiritual growth.
Yeah. And somehow in the Crown episode, we're still talking about the root.
What else is new? I feel like this has just been one long root chakra podcast.
If we've convinced you of anything in this entire series, it's A, find out where your water shutoff valve is, and B, prioritize your root.
Yes. But anyways, if you've been following along for some color magic with the Crown Chakra, white and purple are going to be your colors. And for some sound healing, I know Molly already told us that the seed sound is Om. But if you're looking on YouTube, you're going to want to look up 963 hertz.
Yes. Okay, so some low effort rituals. Number one, we literally sat down and we're like, okay, what are some rituals we can share? We came up with like 3, and then we're like, honestly, the biggest ritual that both of us can recommend is to work on your lower 6 chakras.
Yeah, we sat down and I immediately was like, I don't do a ton of work with my crown.
Yeah, it just happens.
My crown just kind of does her own thing when everything else is in line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I think the best thing that you can do for your crown chakra is to check in with the rest of your energy centers. Mm-hmm.
It's like an ice cream sundae. You know what's the most important part of the ice cream sundae?
The bowl?
Yes! Yes! I literally was going to say the bowl.
Yes!
Right? Okay, so root chakra is your bowl. Okay? Sacral is your spoon. Solar plexus is the ice cream itself. The heart is the hot fudge. The throat is the whipped cream. The third eye is the sprinkles. And the crown is the cherry on top. Okay? Don't try to just carry a bowl of whipped cream, sprinkles, and cherries. All right?
With no spoon. Don't just try to carry whipped cream.
No, it's not going to, especially in this heat.
Yeah, it's not going to go well.
Yeah. So, yeah, work on those lower ones and the upper ones will just just happen. Another really great opportunity to work on the crown is being in community in some way, shape, or form. So this could be like your literal community, like volunteering. If you have any sort of like worship practice in community, if you have a coven, a book club, a political campaign that you feel called to work on, or it could be just like, for me, when I'm feeling like a little bit disconnected from humanity, which happens because I work from home and I sometimes don't see other humans outside of my family for multiple days at a time, I'll just go to a coffee shop and sit down and just like chat, right? Like connect with connect with beings outside of yourself.
Yeah. I also think like if you don't have places like that, a public place to practice your worship, a coven, literally going to your local metaphysical store.
Yeah.
And even if it's not talking to anyone, I think being in a space where other people, like there's almost like a mutual understanding of this shared thing. That is a really like a true low effort way to be in community.
The other thing I was thinking too is whenever I feel disconnected from my spiritual practice, I try to move my practice into community. So a lot of my spiritual practice is just self, because I recharge using my spiritual practice, and I am so extroverted 90% of the time, but I recharge as an introvert. So I tend to do my spiritual practice in solitude, but I find when I disconnect from it, I need to be in a social setting. So I like literally, I said to you yesterday, I was like, I need you to yell at me to go to a yoga class.
And then I said, go to yoga. And she said, no. So
okay, I'm gonna go this week. To be fair, the usual teacher was not there, so I was like, okay, this is like 2 strikes again.
2 strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
We're not waiting for a third.
I just driven like from Trader Joe's, which is like right by the studio. So
I love that you're like, yeah, I made Madison yell at me to do a thing, and then I didn't do it.
I have to be real with y'all. I get the struggle of like going and leaving your house to doing the thing that you could do at home, but you're avoiding doing at home. Just leave your house and do the thing, okay? Or like find some sort of online community that you can connect with. We talked about like the space-time monotasking group that I talked about in the heart chakra. Sometimes when I feel disconnected from my spiritual practice, I will literally sign up for a co-working session and I will just do yoga during the session just because I need like other beings for my ADHD to not feel alone.
I love that.
Yeah. Next, meditation in general.
Yeah, I think that especially if you're someone who doesn't experience a ton of spiritual community, meditation is a really easy way to acknowledge that interconnectedness on your own. Like bringing consciousness to that interconnectedness, and even just bringing consciousness to your crown. Like I almost see the crown as like a literal opening. In my head, and it's like whirlpool adjacent. And so I can almost imagine through meditation like where thoughts drop in, and I imagine them dropping in through the crown.
Yeah.
And that's why I think meditation is such a powerful practice for the crown specifically. Because I'm like, okay, this is where it starts. It comes in through here. I interpret it through my brain. It comes out my throat. It settles in my heart, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like guided meditations are really powerful for the crown. I know there's some people that will be like, to access your crown, you need complete silence. I am not a believer in that. I think guided meditations are really powerful.
I also just do not fuck with silence.
Yeah. I guarantee that people listening are like, yeah, me too. Because I know the people listening right now are like doing something that they could be doing in silence, but they're like, let me just put this podcast on.
Yeah. You know what? If this podcast exists for one thing and one thing only, and it's to be there for you while you do your dishes,
Yeah. It's
to be there while you do your laundry. Silence during meditation is a scam to me.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That is setting up for failure.
Yeah. All of my Reiki training graduates are going to know the story I'm going to tell. And I think I've even told it on the podcast multiple times.
You definitely have.
This is the story where I always say, like, I'm turning into my dad because I just tell this one story over and over and over, and I will not shut the fuck up about it. But I actually believe... Love you. I actually believe that meditating in noise is more powerful and effective than meditating in silence. In fact, my first ever gig teaching meditation was in a rock climbing gym. So imagine a cement, super cold floor. There was ants.
Ants? Okay, this is the first time I've heard about the ants, and I've heard this story 10 times.
Yeah, there were ants. I just remembered the ants the other day. Yeah, hate that for me.
Ants during meditation is worse than silence. Everybody answer, would you rather a silent meditation or a meditation with ants?
We can put a poll on Spotify now.
Yes, that will be the
Chime
poll.
in on the poll.
Chime in on the poll.
Yeah, so ants, cold floor, not a temperate room at all. On one side, outside the room, was like techno music because people were bouldering. And then above us was the stairs to the kids' camp. So there was like a herd of elephants going up and down every 3 minutes. No soundproofing in the room. That's where I taught meditation for the first like 3 years that I taught meditation. And I remember sitting there and being like, oh my God, this is the worst meditation class I have ever taught. And I could have continued that thought pattern. But instead I said, no, we're actually going to meditate on all the noise. Because here's the thing. We've all had that experience where you're trying to focus and Joey Behuvas across the street is mowing his lawn.
Fuck that guy.
And yeah, his car alarm's going off and whatever. And you're just sitting there and you're like, I can't focus. But that's exactly when you should be meditating. Mm-hmm. Because if you can calm that reaction and see that like, yeah, the car alarm is just as much a part of my experience as the 963 hertz music could be, right? Like if you can see those as one and the same and you can quiet that reaction and see that interconnectedness in sound, you can start to see that interconnectedness in all things. And because how you do anything is how you do everything, if you meditate in a rock climbing gym and find yourself quieting your emotional response to the chaos and distractions that are happening in your practice, then you are preparing to do that in the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Retweet.
So meditate. Yeah. I think guided practices are great. I'm going to be posting one on the Crown Chakra this week, which is one of my favorite interconnectedness practices. So you should check that out. We also really love the Calm app. I mean, there's lots of amazing guided meditations out there.
You can find them by the dozen on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
Next on our list is one of the lowest of low effort because it's something that you can pay somebody else to do to you, which is head massage.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a scalp massage? Oh,
get your hair washed at the hairdresser.
A blowout?
Oh, dude, I got my first blowout in 3 years the other day, and I felt so good.
It did look good. I've never had one.
What?
I know. My hair is so short.
Girl.
I mean, like when I've got my hair cut, but I've never like gone to the salon.
Oh, no. I got my hair cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought fully that, I mean, the hairdresser has dried my hair before, but like.
Yeah, that's a blowout.
But to me, I guess, so what I'm saying is the idea of like true luxury to me is
going to get your hair washed without a
salon just to have them wash and style my hair. That's my dream. But because I keep my hair so short, it's not really worth it. And there's like not much to do to style it. I am starting to grow it out. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, when is the appropriate length that like that can be a treat yourself moment? But yes, go like literally go get your hair washed. But have you ever had like a scalp massage?
No, but I did get a blowout before my wedding and it was not good. And I had to redo my hair the morning of myself.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So maybe check their Instagrams before you get your blowout for your crown.
I don't know, man. My crown was a little wonky back then though. So
yeah. So maybe it was your fault, actually.
Maybe it was my fault.
Let's find a way to make it our own fault.
No. It was definitely hers because I got a haircut from her like 3 months prior and I did not like it. And I was like, well, I can't cancel.
Well, you know what we'll do now? We'll have you do my hair for the day that I'll be more photographed than any other day of my life.
Yep.
Because I don't want to hurt your feelings.
That's truly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
I know,
and then I went
because
home and I did my own hair.
We are the same person.
And I hadn't had a blowout since, but I've healed that part of myself now.
I did the same thing at my junior prom. That's the closest that I can think of to a wedding. But I got my makeup done and I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
I'll go home and do it myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
But no, I've never had a head massage.
I've had one once. And I think that my mom and I were on a cruise and my mom got a massage and I was like a kid. And so she was like, guess you have to come with me. And like, it's weird because you're a child to get a massage by this woman just massaged my head for like an hour. It was the best day of my life.
Sounds amazing.
My crown was so open. I was maybe 10.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I always want to get into those like scalp massage-y metal things.
Oh,
you know,
me
why do
too.
I always have like someone gives me one of those like once a year. Like it's always in my Christmas stocking or something. And I'm like, why do I have all of these?
It's the same way that I feel about gua sha. I really want to get into gua sha because I know it feels so nice. I love to do it. It just is something that feels comforting. And it's just like they have the little combs made out of like rose quartz and jade that I'm like, I know that would feel so nice if I just committed to doing it. And I just don't.
You know, I saw a life hack recently. This girl keeps her gua sha in the shower. And when she cleanses her face, she uses the cleanser for slippage.
Other people are so smart.
I know. So maybe try that.
Okay. I'm on it. I've had probably like 14 gua shas over the course of my life because I buy it, I never use it, I move, I say, I don't need this, I give it to someone else, and then I buy a new one.
Yeah. I can relate. Retweet. And then the next one is Reiki, which we talk about a lot, but I think Reiki is a really powerful tool for interconnectedness because if we look at the deeper layers of the practice, I always say like everyone always talks about like the energy flowing through. And yes, it flows through the crown. So like you can think of like a faucet turning on above the crown. And yes, that's going to help you balance your crown in general. But deeper than that, I always call that sexy Reiki. That's like the Reiki everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know, how do I channel energy through my hands? But if we look at the deeper layers of the practice, Reiki is actually about interconnectedness. It's about seeing that we are not separate from each other, that we are all connected, right? This energy is universal when it's flowing through us. And it's a way of connecting to that and disconnecting from the things that hold us back from that interconnection, like our worry, our anger, our ego, our, stress, our anxiety, our all of those things that kind of like become the norm for us that block us from feeling connected. It's about using that energy flow as a tool to come home to ourselves. And at our deepest core, we are a place of boundless joy, of gratitude, of love, compassion, and ultimately interconnectedness with all beings. And I think the more that you practice Reiki, at least like the true spectrum of Reiki, rather than just like, learning how to flow energy through your hands like some people will learn and they won't really get the whole deeper layers of it. But the more that you practice all the different layers of Reiki, the more you start to see that interconnectedness and the crown just snaps into place because everything else snaps into place.
Yeah, I think, not to take it back to the pipes, but when I took your Reiki one, you said early on, you gave me the imagery of the faucet. And now that is exactly how it's the same. I think that's like almost it's become my own trigger for how it starts is I mentally turn the faucet. That faucet is connected to a pipe. And that pipe flows through to source. And it's the same, like all of our, I can imagine all of our pipes going to that same place. And that is our connect. We are all just one big house. And all our pipes are probably bursting every once in a while. But.
Oh. And you know what? Okay, all right. So if one person's pipe bursts, then the water pressure and all the other pipes are affected.
Your pain is my pain.
Yeah. Oh my God. We did it. We got there.
Your water pressure is my water pressure. I hopped on that train finally.
Right? If I flush my toilet, your temperature changes.
If my hot water heater explodes, your water's cold.
Yeah. Love that.
It was a hard weekend, guys. And then to top it off, why don't you tell me what crystals you often use to work with the Crown Chakra?
if I was stranded on a deserted island, say it with me now, the crystal I would bring is a
clear quartz.
Yes. I love clear quartz. It's an amplifier of pretty much any intention that you set with it. But because it's an amplifier of everything, it's also so powerful for connecting with the crown, right? So it's like, I see it as like the reason quartz is an amplifier. It's, first of all, it's one of the most abundant minerals in the earth. So if we just think about interconnectedness, if we're all on this planet, we're all in some way, shape, or form connected to a piece of quartz, right? Like, you know, your foundation of your house, I'm sure there's a piece of quartz like touching it somewhere. And so I always see like clear quartz for me and the earth are synonymous. And so seeing that interconnectedness, anytime I work with the earth, it's like I can feel that connection with everyone and everything. So that's number one, clear quartz. Selenite is also another really powerful one, specifically the satin spar selenite variety, which is the more abundant variety. It's kind of like the one that most people think of. It has that white sheen when you move it back and forth in the light. That one is a very, very, very high frequency. And so whenever the frequency is higher, it's going to imagine it like lifting up. So coming up into the crown. And then apophyllite is another one of my favorites. That one in particular is my favorite if you're working with universal energy in any way, shape, or form. Reiki or doing like a interconnectedness meditation, holding a piece of apophyllite is really powerful for that.
And then for herbs, we're going very floral. Lavender and violet, specifically for their color and like that general like calming, peaceful energy. And then rose to bring it back to that kind of like love and compassion for all.
Love it.
And that's putting a cap on our series.
Wow.
2 can play at your game.
We did it. That was the longest series we've ever made. And we are not done yet. We want to finalize it, top it off with a Q&A episode. So if you have questions about the chakras, anything that you wish we covered, down in the show notes, there is a form that you can submit your question. And then in a couple of weeks, we are going to read through them and answer as many as we can. And that will be the top 2-hour chakra series.
This was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. If you want to learn more about us, you can find all our links in the show notes.
We'd love to know what you think of today's episode, so drop us a review or give us a shout out on social media. And don't forget to let us know your magical moment of the week. Okay, love you. Bye.